Story begins with a girl, Shu Wan, visiting her old high school. Standing there, she's flooded with memories from 10 years ago and she thinks to herself, will Shishao ever forgive me? I hurt him so much. We then cut to a flashback from 10 years earlier. During morning assembly, the school guards are chasing Shishao. As he runs, he yanks open every faucet along his path, soaking everyone in water. Shishao is a spoiled but handsome troublemaker. As punishment, the teacher confiscates his bike and tells him, if you don't straighten up, you're never getting this bike back. Look at Shuwan. She's such a brilliant student. I wish you could be more like her. The oral exams are coming up in a few days, and if you don't make it into the top 1,000 students in the whole city, you can forget about this bike. One day, Shuwan is riding her bicycle somewhere and crashes into Shishao. A keychain falls out of her pocket and Shishao picks it up. Meanwhile, Zhuan is on her way to an interview. She comes from a poor family and works as a part-time tutor to help support her grandma. But since high schoolers aren't allowed to tutor, she's been telling everyone she's a college student. One day, it's grandma's birthday, and we learn that Shu Wan has a neighbor named Jiang, who is also her classmate and a strong student. Grandma is very fond of him too. Meanwhile, one of Shishao's friends tells him, I got hold of a top student's notes, and that's why I've been scoring so well. These notes have been circulating secretly. It turns out the person selling these notes is Shu Wan herself. She's been using the alias Mr. Bo, so no one can trace them back to her. Then Shishao messages her. I want the notes too, but she blocks him and says to herself, I will never sell notes to this guy. He's nothing but trouble, and he'll get me caught. Shishao tries hard to track down the notes, but he gets turned away everywhere he goes. He starts studying Mr. Bo's profile picture closely and figures out there's a tree in the school's backyard where Mr. Bo goes at night. So he heads to that spot, an abandoned area of the school. There, he catches Zhu Wan red-handed and says, I knew it. You're Mr. Bo, aren't you? Why didn't you give me the notes? Shu Wan replies, because you're way too flashy, I don't want to get caught up in any trouble. Just then, Shishao pulls out her keychain and shows it to her. In the scuffle to get it back, he ends up stealing her notes. When her results come out, they're noticeably better than before, and Shu Wan immediately realizes he stole her notes. Ahead of the next exam, he starts following her around to get more notes. Shu Wan snaps, you should be ashamed of yourself. You ruined my business. He apologizes. Shu Wan then says, fine, but I'm charging you double for the next set of notes. A new character is introduced, Lu Yi, who works for a loan shark. Shu Wan's father had taken out a large loan, and now Shu Wan is the one stuck paying it off. Later, Shu Wan hands Shishao his notes and takes her keychain back. That's when she also learns Shishao wants to study abroad. She then takes her grandma to the hospital, where the doctor tells her her condition isn't good, she needs medication, and it's very expensive. Hearing this, Yuan calls her mom, but her mom doesn't pick up. A flashback shows that her mother had abandoned her as a child to be with a wealthy man. In the next scene, Shuwan spots her mom somewhere and discovers that the man her mother married is actually Shishao's father, and that her mom is trying to win his affection. Realizing this, Shuwan says to herself, sorry, Shishao, but I'm going to use you. She starts sticking close to Shishao and tells him, I know you want to study abroad, but studying alone won't get you far. I can help you. Shishao shows up to study with her. Shuwan helps him and even prepares notes for him. She notices he's sweating a lot from the heat, so the next day she brings along a mini fan. Seeing her care for him this way makes Shishao really happy. When Jiang finds out, he feels a pang of jealousy. One day, Shuwan brings home some dying fish to save them, but her bag starts leaking. So the two of them sneak into the chemistry lab to steal a beaker. A guard spots them and starts chasing them. Zhuan jumps out of the window, but Shishao is afraid of heights. She calls up to him, jump, I won't let you fall. As he starts to lose his balance, Yuan catches him. In the next scene, Shishao and Shuwan are sitting together in the school backyard, near the same tree where he'd first identified her as Mr. Bo. Shuwan asks him, why is this tree so special to you? Shishao says, this tree has albinism, so it feels really sweet to me. Looks like our tastes are pretty similar. Shuwan says, I thought you were just a spoiled rich kid who doesn't care about anything. Shishao laughs and replies, well, that was the plan for my life. Shuwan continues, but you're nothing like that. You're a good person. You don't go around hurting people, at least. Shishao asks, who have you hurt? But she changes the subject. When Shu Wan is heading home on the bus, Shishao rides alongside it on his bike, and the two of them keep smiling at each other through the window. One day, the two of them stop at a fish shop where nobody wants to buy the last few remaining fish. Shishao buys all of them and says, I'm a rich kid. I don't care about the cost. They release the fish into the school's swimming pool and watch happily as they swim around. Then, Shu Wan remembers that one of them is a betta fish, which could attack the others. She jumps straight into the water, and Shishao dives dives in right after her. Together, they separate the fish and end up having a great time. After getting soaked, the two of them head to the school storeroom and change into club t-shirts. Shu-won accidentally glances over at a shirtless Shi-xiao and quickly looks away, blushing. In the middle of their conversation, Zhu-won asks, "Why do you want to go abroad?" Shi-xiao says, "Because I don't feel attached to anything here. But you, stay focused on your studies. You're really talented, and your future is going to be bright." The two of them then grab separate beakers from the chemistry lab so the betta fish won't harm the other fish. Just then, the guard catches them. The next day at assembly, both of them are punished for breaking school rules, but Shi-xiao speaks up in front of everyone. "This wasn't Shu-won's fault at all. I'm the one who dragged her into it." Afterward, Shu-won asks him, "Why did you take all the blame on yourself?" Shi-xiao says, "Your reputation is really good. It should stay that way." Hearing this, Shu-won thanks him and says, "I'll treat you to something in return, but we're going somewhere I like." She takes him to a small local market to eat her favorite noodles. Even the shop owner hits it off with Shi-xiao right away. But when Shu-won gets home, Grandma finds out from Jiang that she broke school rules. Grandma scolds her and Shu-won somehow manages to calm her down. Later, Shu-won is upset with Jiang and says, "Is this what friends do?" Jiang apologizes and says, "Ever since Shi-xiao came into your life, I feel like the two of us have been drifting apart." Then he asks, "What kind of person do you want to become in the future?" Shu-won answers, "I just want to be a kind person." Meanwhile, Shi-xiao buys a big aquarium for all the fish and sends Shu-won a photo of it. Seeing it gives her peace of mind, knowing the fish are safe. Now, the school's PTM, parent-teacher meeting, and the balloon festival fall on the same day. Shu-won keeps telling Shi-xiao, "Make sure you come. I want to release balloons with you." But what she really wants is for her mom and Shi-xiao to run into each other face to face. On the day of the festival, Shu-won waits and waits for Shi-xiao. Just as things are about to wrap up, he shows up with a huge bunch of balloons and says, "I didn't have just one wish, so I wrote a different one on every single balloon." Together, they release all the balloons into the sky. Just then, Shu-won spots her mom approaching and suddenly hugs Shi-xiao, hoping her mom will see them together. But her mom acts as though she doesn't even know Shu-won. Seeing this, Shi-xiao gets upset and storms off. Later, Shi-xiao says about his stepmother, "My dad has a habit of switching women." Eventually, Shu-won's mom comes to meet her and says, "I know you need money for grandma's treatment. Take this money, but in exchange, stay away from Shi-xiao forever." Out of desperation, Zhu-won takes the card. After that day, Zhu-won changes completely. She starts fully ignoring Shi-xiao at school. One day, she flatly says, "He's not my friend." Hearing this crushes Shi-xiao. He can't understand what suddenly happened. One day, while Shu-won is crossing the street, a group of bikers nearly hits her, but Shi-xiao rides in on his bike and pulls her out of the way just in time. He hands her his jacket and says, "At least don't get soaked." Around the same time, the teachers find out that Shi-xiao has secretly been preparing to study abroad. Shu-won immediately lies and takes the whole blame onto herself, somehow saving his dream. Later, Shi-xiao gets a message saying that his overseas admission and flight tickets have all been arranged. He realizes that Shu-won pulled this off with his mom's help. Meanwhile, Grandma catches Shu-won throwing away receipts for expensive medicine. When she asks where all that money came from, Shu-won says through tears, "This money isn't wrong. You're my only family. I can't lose you." On the last day of school, Jiang and Shi-xiao come face to face. Jiang says angrily, "Stay away from Shu-won's life for good after today." The two of them get into a fight. That's when it's revealed for the first time that Jiang and Shi-xiao are half-brothers. After the fight, Shu-won is angry with Jiang and tells him, "This is my life. Please don't interfere in it again." A little later, Fan tells Shi-xiao that Shu-won hid his secret about studying abroad from the teachers. The moment he hears this, Shi-xiao runs to their hidden study spot, where the two of them used to study together. But he gets there too late. Shu-won had waited a long time and already left. The two of them just miss each other. 10 years later, the two of them are back at their old school. Shu-won is watching a dog when she hears Shi-xiao's voice from behind her. "It's been quite a few years since I last saw you." We cut back to 2016. On the last day of school, the two of them had parted ways without ever meeting. Shi-xiao has already decided to go abroad. Before leaving, he gives his bike to Fan and says, "Take care of it and make sure the aquarium gets to Shu-won." When Shu-won finds out, she goes to his house to return his jacket. Handing it back, she says, "I got it dry cleaned." Then, seeing the aquarium, she says, "These fish aren't just mine. Half of them are yours too." Shi-xiao laughs and says, "I couldn't fit an aquarium this big on a plane anyway." In the end, they decide the aquarium will stay with Fan and he'll be the one to take care of the fish. That same day was Shu-won's college entrance exam. But right before she's about to walk into the exam hall, Grandma has a heart attack. She rushes her to the hospital and misses her entrance exam. Meanwhile, Shi-xiao has already reached the airport when he finds out that his dad is planning to sell his mom's house. To save the last remaining piece of his mother, he turns around and comes back. Shu Wan's entire life changes after this. To pay for grandma's treatment and hospital bills, she drops out of school and starts working part-time jobs nonstop. Meanwhile, Yishao is also trying to save his mom's house. One day at a workshop, Yishao runs into his rival, Wan Hui, who's just as obsessed with bike racing as he is. Wan Hui challenges him to a race. The race begins. Wan Hui's bike is much more powerful, but Yishao pulls off the win at the very last moment using his riding skills. After winning, he reminds Wan Hui of the terms of their bet, but instead of destroying his bike, Wan Hui threatens him and walks off. A little later, Wan Hui sends thugs after Yishao to attack him. Shu Wan overhears this and quietly follows them. When the thugs surround Yishao, Shu Wan speeds in on her bike, pulls him onto it, and gets him out of there. Afterward, she bandages his wounds and the two of them sit down together to eat noodles. Yishao asks her, "First you were my tutor, then you became my friend. Then, out of nowhere, you started ignoring me, and now you're back to helping me again. What's actually going on?" As Zhu Wan starts to leave, Yishao grabs her hand and says, "Our paths went in different directions, but fate brought us back together. Can you accept that this time?" But Zhu Wan walks away without answering. The next day, Yishao finds out that Shu Wan dropped her entrance exam because of grandma's illness and has been working part-time jobs day and night to pay for her treatment. Hearing this, Yishao quietly goes to the hospital and pays off grandma's bill. But Shu Wan sends the money back and says, "I can accept a drink from you, but not hospital bills." Shu Wan is now also working at a gaming store. Yishao often shows up there. One day, he wins a doll from a claw machine and gives it to her, attaching an arrow pendant to it, the same one he'd made for her earlier. Looking at the pendant, Shu Wan says, "This arrow actually matches my bow pendant perfectly. I'm keeping this." Just then, Yishao finds out a buyer has come to look at his mom's house. He rushes over and Zhu Wan goes along with him. Together, they hatch a plan to scare off the buyer. They turn off the lights, make eerie noises, and paint blood-like marks on the wall. The buyer flees in terror, and the two of them celebrate the success of their plan. But when Shu Wan accidentally wanders into his mom's private room, Yishao snaps at her angrily. Shu Wan quietly walks away. Outside, her mom is waiting for her. She brings up the money again, but this time with a condition. If you want this money, you'll have to cut off all contact with Yishao for good. Reluctantly, Shu Wan blocks Yishao on WeChat right in front of her mother. Meanwhile, Yishao sends her an apology message, but that's when he discovers he's been blocked. Sometime later, Yishao finds out his dad never actually intended to sell his mom's house. Grandpa firmly declares that the house and none of his mother's belongings will ever be sold. Meanwhile, Shu Wan finds her dad's insurance papers. That's when she learns her mom lied to her. The insurance money never belonged to her mother. It was rightfully Shu Wan's. Shu Wan now decides she's going to claim what's rightfully hers from her mother. She tries to get close to Yishao again, but he's still upset with her and won't even talk to her. Shu Wan comes up with every excuse she can think of to get him to add her back on WeChat, tries offering him noodles, but Yishao keeps brushing her off every time. Eventually, Fan convinces him that Shu Wan really does feel guilty. Yishao's anger finally melts and he sends her a message. "I think we should end this fight now." The moment she reads the message, Shu Wan runs off to find him. Yishao steps out from behind a tree, smiling and says, "You were looking for me, weren't you?" The two of them apologize to each other. Shu Wan says, "I shouldn't have blocked you." Yishao replies, "I wanted to say sorry to you too, but then I found out you'd blocked me." The two of them add each other back on WeChat and pick their friendship back up. Later, Shu Wan casually asks, "I heard there's going to be a band at your family banquet. And, can I come too?" Yishao says, "Of course, and just try to get there a bit early." Meanwhile, it's Jiang's birthday. Shu Wan brings him a cake. After cutting it, Jiang gives her 2 tickets to an art exhibition, which she accepts. Meanwhile, Yishao is at a boutique picking out a dress for Shu Wan. He compares a salesgirl's height to Shu Wan's to try and figure out the right size. Yishao waits at the entrance of the banquet for Shu Wan, so she won't have any trouble getting in. As Shu Wan gets ready, she first puts on the arrow pendant he gave her, but then takes it off out of shyness. At the banquet, Yishao's old rival Wan Hui shows up. The moment he spots Shu Wan, he mocks her and deliberately spills a drink on her. Yishao gets furious, but Shu Wan stops him, saying, "Don't cause a scene in front of everyone." Yishao takes her inside his house and tells her to change first. He's already arranged a beautiful dress and a stylist for her. Zhu Wan asks in surprise, "You keep women's clothes at your house?" Yishao laughs and says, "Yeah, but those are for my stylists." When Shu Wan comes out fully dressed up, Yishao just stares. She looks like nothing short of a Cinderella. After that, Yishao leads her to the band she'd really come to the banquet to hear. He tells her, "The song you liked wasn't on their set list, so I had them arrange it specially for you." The two of them dance together to the song. Shu Wan doesn't know how to dance, so Yishao lovingly teaches her every step. The mood between them turns quite romantic. In the middle of their conversation, Shu Wan asks, "What if I hurt you someday? Then what?" Yishao says, "Even then, I wouldn't do anything." At that moment, Yishao's dad gets on stage and starts putting on a show of praising his mother's paintings. Seeing this, Shishao can't hold back and tells everyone the truth about his mom's paintings. Just then, Shuwan gets a call from the hospital. A kidney donor has become available for Grandma, but it's going to cost 300,000 wen. At that same moment, the guards come to remove her. Forced into a corner, Shuwan goes up on stage and, in front of everyone, honors her mother Gu Yan as her greatest benefactor. Everyone starts praising Gu Yan, but Shishao realizes that Shuwan only used him to get close to her mother. After leaving the party, Shishao takes her to a hilltop and says, "Now, I understand everything. You only became friends with me to get close to Guyan. I was just a tool to you, wasn't I?" Shuwan can't say a word out of shame. Shishao looks at her and asks, "All the time we spent together, did you ever, even once, actually like me?" Before she can answer, Shishao kisses her. Fireworks go off behind them at that exact moment, but all Shuwan says is, "I never thought of you that way." Hearing this, Shishao breaks down again and walks away. When Shuwan gets home, her mom is waiting for her. She says, not everyone gets to be Cinderella. Then she promises to give her the full 300,000 won for Grandma's treatment. But in exchange, Shuwan has to come to their house the next day and end her relationship with Shishao in front of everyone for good. Jiang overhears the whole conversation. As he bandages Shuwan's feet, he says, "Maybe no one else understands you. Oh, but I do." The next morning at breakfast, Shishao gets into another argument with his dad. Shishao wants to study art, while his dad wants him to take over the family business. Just then, Lan, Shishao's aunt, who has always had his back, walks in with Shuwan. Shishao is stunned to see her there. Guyan smiles deliberately and says, "Say hello to your brother too." Forced into it, Shuwan glances at Shishao and quietly says, "Hi." Now Guyan tries to force Shuwan and Shishao into acting like siblings. Hearing this, Shishao's mood sours and he starts to leave, but Grandpa stops him. Just then, Guyan mentions that Shuwan is going to stay somewhere quiet to focus on exam prep. Grandpa says, "Why go so far away? Come stay at our place. It's peaceful here, and Shishao can study alongside you too." Shuwan tries hard to refuse, but Shishao immediately says, "I don't have any objection." After this, Shishao's dad sets a condition. "If you get up to any mischief this summer break, forget about art. You'll be studying finance." Shuwan moves her things into the Liu family home. The room she's given turns out to be Shishao's old childhood room. That night, when Shuwan heads to the bathroom, she finds Shishao already standing there, waiting for her. Zhuwan says, "I thought you were still mad at me." Shishao says, "I know you didn't mean it on purpose, but I was still hurt." Right then, Gu Yan shows up. Seeing her, Shishao says sarcastically, "Well, look who's here, your godmother." He still has no idea that Gu Yan is Shuwan's biological mother. Meanwhile, Gu Yan corners Shuwan alone and says, "If you want money for Grandma's treatment, you'll have to convince Shishao to give up art and study finance instead." Shuwan flatly refuses, but Guyan forces her hand by bringing up Grandma's illness again. That evening, Shuwan brings noodles for Shishao. That's when she finds out he has a high fever and won't take his medicine. Shuwan personally gives him the noodles and medicine. Shishao listens to her and takes the medicine like a good kid. As Shuwan starts to leave, Shishao grabs her hand and says, "Keep a sick person company for a little while at least." But Shuwan starts looking at her phone. Shishao snatches it away, pulls her to sit beside him and teases, "I feel like giving you my infection too." He leans in closer but pulls back at the last moment. The next day, Shishao heads out for his interview with the art professor but leaves his portfolio at home. Shuwan rushes after him to bring it. There, the professor looks at his paintings and says, "Every piece of your work has a hint of your mother in it. I want to see your own style. Come back once you've found your own inspiration." Hearing this leaves Shishao quite shaken. Just then, Shuwan gets an idea. She signs Shishao up for the volunteer program, where she and Zhang work with kids. At first, Shishao struggles to connect with the children, but he slowly opens up while playing games with them. During a storytelling session, he freezes up. Shuwan helps him out, and eventually Shishao finishes the story himself. At the end of the story, the wolf gives the black sheep a rose. In reality, that rose was Shishao giving one to Shuwan. Later during art class, Shishao starts sketching Shuwan again. But the moment she comes over to look, he quickly hides the drawing and shows her a sketch of one of the kids instead. Seeing this makes Yuan feel a little sad. Shishao notices even this small trace of sadness in her. So he teams up with Fan to plan a trip to an amusement park for all their friends. In reality, he just wants to fulfill a childhood wish of hers. Everyone has a great time at the amusement park. Shishao even gets into a playful fight with a little kid during bumper cars. Afterward, Shuwan wants to ride the Ferris wheel, but Shishao is afraid of heights. Sensing this, Shuwan makes up an excuse herself. "This ride is boring anyway. And it's really windy too. Let's go somewhere else. The whole time, Si Xiao is recording their memories on camera. He asks her, "Why are you helping me so much?" This time, Shu Wan tells him the truth. "Because I hurt you so badly. I just want to make up for my mistake." Seeing the honesty in her eyes, Si Xiao smiles too. Back home, Si Xiao sits down to paint, hoping for inspiration, but every time, his pencil ends up drawing Shu Wan's face. The next morning, Shu Wan is about to see his painting, but Si Xiao shyly hides it from every angle. Meanwhile, Fan calls the two of them over. He thinks he's fallen for Gumeng and asks Shuwan to find out if Gumeng might already like someone else. When Shuwan asks her, Gumeng jokingly says Shi Xiao's name first. Shuwan's expression at that moment is priceless. Then Gumeng laughs and says she was only joking. Now, Shi Xiao and Shu Wan team up to help Fan pull off his confession plan. Fan wants to decorate the school for Gumeng's birthday and propose to her as a surprise, but the lock on the box he's hiding in to jump out gets stuck. In the end, Shi Xiao dresses up as the school mascot to help his friend out. Fan comes out and proposes to Gumeng, but she turns him down. She says, "What if we end up at different universities for college? I don't want a long-distance relationship." Meanwhile, Shi Xiao is walking out in the mascot costume. He deliberately stays silent, but Zhuan pulls off his mask right away and laughs. "Do you think I'm stupid? None of our school's security guards are this tall." Shi Xiao is overheating badly, so Shu Wan lets him ride on the back seat of her scooter. Shi Xiao says, "I never ride on the back seat for anyone." Shu Wan shoots back immediately. "Forgotten already? When I saved you from those thugs, you were on my back seat too." The two of them ride off laughing together, but traffic police stop them along the way because Shi Xiao isn't wearing a helmet. After this, Shu Wan takes him to the same old garden where his mom used to bring him to paint when he was a kid. There, a kid's kite gets stuck in a tree. Without thinking, Shu Wan climbs up, but starts to fall. Shi Xiao catches her instantly in his arms. The two of them fall to the ground, and the heart-shaped kite lands right on top of them. They both burst out laughing. The garden caretaker tells Shu Wan, "Shi Xiao likes you a lot. He's never brought anyone else here before today." A little later, the two of them sit together and reminisce about their parents. Shi Xiao says, "I'm scared that I might forget my mom someday." Shu Wan says too, "I'm scared that my dad's voice might fade from my memory." A while later, Shu Wan dozes off. Si Xiao wakes her up to show her his new painting. But once again, the painting isn't of anyone else. It's Shu Wan. He says, "What can I do? The moment I pick up a pencil, it's just you. You're my real inspiration." The next day, Gu Yan reminds Shu Wan again, "Don't forget your goal. You need to convince Shi Xiao to drop art for finance." Just then, Shi Xiao walks in, and Gu Yan pretends she only came to check in on Shu Wan. As soon as Gu Yan leaves, Shi Xiao gives Shu Wan a gift, the very painting where he'd drawn her. Shu Wan asks happily, "Aren't you going to show this to the professor?" Shi Xiao says, "That's a separate portfolio for him. This painting is just for you." But the moment Shi Xiao leaves, Guyan spots the painting and flies into a rage, tearing it to shreds without a second thought. Shu Wan could only stand there, helpless, watching it happen. Meanwhile, Shi Xiao is out enjoying a barbecue with his friends. Shu Wan secretly drinks alcohol for the first time and gets drunk within minutes. Shi Xiao steadies her and says, "Why did you need to drink?" Drunk, Shu Wan starts speaking her heart out. "I don't want to be a bad person, but I'm turning into one. I've only been nice to you because I feel guilty." Shi Xiao tries to reassure her. Everyone has a little darkness inside them. But Zhu Wan shakes her head and says, "No, you're really good. Crystal clear. And that's why I like you." She keeps repeating, I like you, over and over. Shi Xiao just smiles, carries her home in his arms, and lovingly tucks her into bed. The next day, Shi Xiao heads out to show his portfolio to the professor. Meanwhile, Guyan sneaks into his room, steals his real portfolio, and hides it in Shu Wan's closet so all the blame will fall on her. Shu Wan immediately catches on to the scheme. She confronts Gu Yan. "That's enough. If you ever try to hurt Shi Xiao again, I'll tell everyone the truth about you." She then grabs the portfolio and runs straight to the professor. Luckily, the professor hasn't opened the fake portfolio yet. A little later, the professor tells Shi Xiao, "I like your work. Now I want to see your progress." This time, Shi Xiao doesn't get rejected. The professor also mentions that a girl had dropped off his portfolio. The moment he hears this, Shi Xiao knows it must have been Shu Wan. When he gets home, Shi Xiao goes to Shu Wan's room. There, he finds the same torn-up painting he'd given her. Right then, Shilan tells him that Guyan was already married before and that Shu Wan is her biological daughter. A lot of things start clicking into place for Shi Xiao now, but he's still certain that Shu Wan isn't the kind of girl who would deliberately hurt him. Meanwhile, Shu Wan refuses to take any more money from Guyan and goes to take out a loan for grandma's treatment instead. The lender initially refuses, but the moment he hears her father's name, he agrees to give her the full loan. Shu Wan starts packing to leave the Liu family home. On her way out, Shishao stops her and asks, "Why are you leaving so suddenly?" Shu Wan starts throwing out different excuses, which makes Shishao realize she's lying to him again. Later, Shishao spots Lu Yi demanding money from Shu Wan. He asks her for the truth, but Lu Yi says, "If you want to know the truth, beat me first." The two of them end up agreeing to a basketball match. Lu Yi cheats throughout, and even the referee sides with him, but Shishao and his team pull off an amazing win anyway. During the match, Lu Yi starts making crude comments about Shu Wan. She fires back, "No matter how much you cheat, you'll never come close to Shishao." Furious, Lu Yi shoves her and hurts her. After the match ends, Shishao notices her injury. He asks, "Who did this?" Shu Wan lies at first, but the moment she mentions Lu Yi's name, Shishao's temper explodes. He goes and beats Lu Yi badly. Both of them end up hurt, and the police show up too. Afterwards, Shishao takes Shu Wan to the same old noodle restaurant. He goes out to buy medicine, tends to the wounds on her forehead and leg himself, and says, "Don't lie to me anymore, please." Shu Wan replies sadly, "I don't enjoy lying either, hun, but there are some secrets I can't tell you. I'm sorry." Shishao simply says, "Okay. But if Lu Yi bothers you again, don't hide anything from me this time." After that, he carries her on his back all the way to her apartment. Once there, he finds out that Shu Wan had also lied about Grandma being allowed to come home. Shishao is hurt again. But this time, too, he thinks to himself, there must be some reason. That's why she keeps lying to me. The next morning, the water pipe at Shu Wan's place bursts. Both Shishao and Jiang show up to help her. Jiang tries to fix the pipe first, but the water bursts out again. Shishao quickly pulls Shu Wan out of the way to keep her from getting soaked. The two of them lose themselves in each other's eyes for a moment. In the end, Shishao manages to fix the pipe. Shu Wan invites both of them to lunch, so all three head to Jiang's house. There, Shishao asks Jiang directly, "Do you like Shu Wan?" But just then, Shu Wan walks in, and they both change the subject. The three of them are sitting down to eat when Jiang's mom comes home. The moment she sees Shishao, she says angrily, "No one from the Lu family is allowed to set foot in my house." Forced out, Shishao and Shu Wan step outside. On the way, Shu Wan says, "I already knew that you and Jiang are stepbrothers." Shishao then tells her the full truth about his family. After this, Shishao drops Shu Wan off at the hospital. There, Grandma tells Shishao privately, "My granddaughter is only 18, but she's never had a real childhood. If you're truly her good friend, look out for her. I just want to see her happy." A little later, the doctors announce that a kidney donor has been found for Grandma, but the operation is going to require a lot of money. Shishao speaks to the doctor privately afterward. That's when he finds out that Shu Wan has been forced to take money from her mother just to get Grandma treated. Now the full truth finally starts to sink in for Shishao. He realizes that Gu Yan has been exploiting Shu Wan's desperation, repeatedly using her against him. Shishao now understands exactly why Shu Wan needs the money. So he goes straight to Gu Yan and says, "I'm ready to go abroad and study finance, but in exchange, give Shu Wan the money for her grandma's treatment." Gu Yan agrees right away, but her scheming isn't over yet. She goes to the hospital and puts on an act of innocence in front of Grandma, hinting that Shu Wan is only with Shishao for his money. Grandma is quietly devastated by this. Meanwhile, Zhishao's dad returns from abroad. He assumes Zhishao will choose art again, but Zhishao tells him himself, "I accept your condition. I'll go abroad and study finance." Gu Yan is thrilled, but Zhishao reminds her, "The moment I board that plane, Yuan's money needs to be in her account." Meanwhile, Yuan is just about to take out the loan when Gu Yan calls her. She says, "Congratulations, you finally convinced him. Shishao is willing to give up his future for you." Hearing this terrifies Shu Wan. She searches the whole city for Shishao but can't find him anywhere. At the hospital, Grandma asks her about Shishao. Shu Wan says, "He's just my classmate." But Grandma says, "Don't lie to me. Just tell me this. Does he take good care of you?" Shu Wan's eyes well up with tears. Meanwhile, Shishao decides to even sell his most treasured bike to help Shu Wan. At the same time, the doctor tells Shu Wan that Shishao had come by asking about the full cost of Grandma's treatment. Now she understands that Shishao already knows everything about her situation. Just then, word spreads at school that a girl is about to jump off the rooftop. Shishao rushes to save her without hesitation, even though he himself is terrified of heights. Shu Wan arrives too. She tells the girl, "You probably think my life is perfect, but my dad is gone, my mom left me, my grandma's life is in danger. I've even hurt the people closest to me. And still, I want to live, because behind every smiling face, there's some kind of pain hidden." The girl is just about to be convinced when her foot slips. Shishao grabs her and pulls her up, but this time, he loses his own grip. Without a second thought, Shu Wan leaps and grabs his hand. Shishao panics and says, "Let go of me, or you'll fall too." But Shu Wan refuses to let go. In the end, both of them land safely on the safety cushion below, and their lives are saved. At the hospital, the two of them keep searching for each other. The moment they finally see each other, Sahai Shao runs and pulls Hu Wan into a tight hug. Crying, Shuwan says, I won't hide anything from you anymore. Guyan isn't my godmother. She's my biological mother. Shishao replies, it feels good hearing that from you, because I already knew. Later, the two of them go to the same old garden where Shishao used to go with his mom as a kid. There, for the first time, Shishao tells Shuwan his entire story. He says, my mom was a talented artist. She loved my dad deeply, but later she found out he'd betrayed her. Zhang was born before I was. My mom couldn't handle that truth. She fell into depression, and one day, right in front of my eyes, she jumped from a rooftop. That's why I've been afraid of heights ever since. Hearing this, tears well up in Shuwan's eyes, too. She now understands that even though Shishao always seems so strong, he's just as broken on the inside. Seeing him upset, Shuwan tries to cheer him up. She asks, would you like to eat something I cook? Jishao says yes right away. The two of them head to his mom's house together, and along the way, Shuwan reaches out her hand. Jishao smiles and takes it. Once home, the two of them check on the fish. Then Shuwan cooks for him, while Shishao tries to help out a little. After they eat, Shuwan teaches him a few easy recipes and says, whenever you miss me, cook this yourself. You won't find this taste at any restaurant. After that, Shishao washes all the dishes himself and won't let Shuwan lift a finger. In the middle of their conversation, Shuwan asks him, why did you give up your dreams so easily? Why can't you just stay here and learn painting? Shishao says, I didn't have any other choice. I just want your life to be full of happiness. If you're happy, only then can I be happy too. Hearing this, Shuwan can't find the words to respond. Then Shishao tells her, after I leave, take good care of our fish. Shuwan promises him she will. But then she remembers that after summer break, Shishao will be gone abroad for good. So she says, there's no festival coming up during summer, so I want to give you all your wishes for the whole year right now. The two of them start wishing each other Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and other holiday greetings. Slowly, they grow closer and closer, until finally Shishao says, Happy Valentine's Day. Hearing this, Shuwan smiles shyly. After that, Shishao takes her by the hand into his mom's painting room. This room means everything to him, and this is the first time he's ever brought anyone here. Inside sits one of his mom's unfinished paintings, one she never got to complete. In that same room, Shishao takes Shuwan's hand and asks, will you go out with me? Shuwan is caught completely off guard and goes silent. Shishao then says, I don't need an answer right now. Take your time and decide. After this, Shuwan goes to visit Grandma at the hospital. The doctor gives permission for her to go home. But after Shuwan leaves, Grandma tells the doctor privately, I don't want to be another burden on my granddaughter. That's why I've decided not to go through with the surgery. That night, Shishao messages Shuwan, come to school tomorrow. This time, I'm going to properly ask you out. Reading this makes Shuwan incredibly happy. She's certain she's going to say yes. The next morning, before heading to the temple, Grandma hugs Shuwan lovingly and says, I didn't even realize, when did my little granddaughter grow up to be so beautiful? Meanwhile, Shishao is putting together the finishing touches for his proposal. He gets photos of Shuwan from Gumeng to help put together a beautiful surprise. Meanwhile, Shuwan buys a lovely gift for Shishao too, but just then she gets a call from the hospital. Grandma's condition has suddenly taken a turn for the worse. Shishao waits and waits for her at their old hidden study spot, the place where they'd first met. But Shuwan ends up at the hospital instead, where her grandma has already passed away. Having lost the only family she has left, Shuwan is completely shattered. Meanwhile, Shishao waits for her for a long time, and when she doesn't show up, he goes to her house the next day. Seeing Shuwan, he asks, are you still upset with me? But Shuwan walks inside without saying a word. That's when Shishao notices Grandma's belongings and her final prayer. In it, she hadn't asked for anything for herself, only for Shuwan's happiness. Now, Shishao understands that Grandma is no longer in this world. He tells Shuwan, you're not alone. I'll always be with you. Shuwan starts making arrangements for Grandma's funeral, but Shishao tells her, Grandma loved being around people. Her send-off shouldn't be this simple. He then goes straight to Zhang's house to ask for help. Zhang's mom is upset to see him at first, but the moment she hears about Grandma, she immediately drops her anger and agrees to help with the funeral arrangements. Preparations for Grandma's funeral are underway. Mr. Feng shows up too, an old family friend of Shuwan's father and Grandma. As he's leaving, he tells her, I know you're going through a tough time, so don't worry about the interest for the next 3 months. But Shuwan says, I'll just give you the money I'd saved up for Grandma's treatment. Hearing this, Mr. Feng realizes that Lu Yi has been mishandling the money, and he quietly decides to look into it. Meanwhile, Shishao arrives at the funeral along with a lot of people. Grandma's neighbors, the noodle shop owner, and everyone else who knew her. Shu-won realizes just how much everyone truly loved her grandma. Just then, Gu-meng plays a video that Grandma had recorded before she passed. In the video, Grandma laughs and says, "No one better cry at my funeral. And noodle shop uncle, you really don't look good when you cry." Then, speaking about Shu-won, she says, "I may not have lived a rich life, but I lived a peaceful one. And my greatest happiness has always been my granddaughter, Shu-won. My only wish is that she stays happy always and goes far in life." Hearing this, Shu-won can't hold back her tears any longer. After the funeral, Shishao wants to stay by her side, but he gets an urgent call from his stepmom. She tells Shishao, "The moment you board the plane to go abroad, I'll send over the money for Shu-won's grandma's treatment." Shishao says angrily, "The person you wanted treated isn't in this world anymore." With that, he walks away. After Grandma's passing, Ju-won is left completely alone. One day while cooking, she dozes off. A gas leak starts and she passes out. At that exact moment, Shi-shao arrives. The instant he smells gas outside the house, he smashes through the window without a second thought. Despite his fear of heights, he even jumps from the terrace and rushes Shu-won straight to the hospital. When she comes to, the first thing Shu-won says is, "Trust me, I wasn't trying to hurt myself." Shi-shao holds her hand and says, "I trust you completely." After this, Shi-shao and his friends try hard to make Shu-won laugh, but she won't talk to anyone. One day, Shi-shao forces her to come outside with him. This breaks something in Shu-won, and she says through tears, "First Dad left, then Mom abandoned me, and now Grandma's gone too. Why does this keep happening to me?" Shi-shao pulls her into a hug and says, "You're not alone anymore. I'll always be with you." After she's discharged from the hospital, Shi-shao brings her to his mom's house. He sets everything up for her to rest and even gives her his own bedroom, while he sleeps outside on the sofa. The next morning, Shi-shao tries to make breakfast for her, but nothing turns out right. The two of them head out for a walk by the seaside instead. There, Shi-shao says, "When I lost my mom, I fell apart exactly like you have. That's why I understand your pain." Shi-shao says, "Grandma may not be with you anymore, but her blessings will always stay with you." Walking along the shore, Shu-won starts sharing memories from her childhood. Then she says, "When I was little, my biggest wish was to have a nice bicycle." A little later, she tells Shi-shao, "I'm okay now. Stop worrying about me so much." But that same night, Shi-shao sneaks off to a gaming shop. He plays all night just to set the highest score and win a brand new bicycle as the prize. The next morning, Shu-won heads off to work. That's when she finds out at the gaming shop that Shi-shao played all night to win her that bicycle. She rushes home. Outside, there's a brand new bicycle with a note attached. "For your new life, a small gift." Seeing this brings tears to Shu-won's eyes. She calls Shi-shao right away. Shi-shao says, "I just want all your wishes to come true." Shu-won laughs and says, "You carried this huge bicycle all the way up to the 4th floor. Now who's gonna carry it back down?" Shi-shao replies right away, "Forget the bicycle. If I have to, I'll carry you down too." For the first time in days, a genuine smile spreads across Shu-won's face. Meanwhile, Mr. Feng discovers that Lu Yi has been overcharging people in his name and pocketing the difference. He punishes Lu Yi for it, while Lu Yi is left wondering who could have reported him. Meanwhile, Shi-shao keeps worrying about Shu-won, who's now living alone. So, every night, he calls her and says, "I won't hang up until you fall asleep." During one of their calls, Shu-won says, "I really wish I could see snow fall someday." It's a small wish of hers. She falls asleep while they're talking, and Shi-shao stays on the line all night without hanging up. The next morning, Shi-shao heads out to grab her favorite noodles. Suddenly, he hears Shu-won scream over the phone. It turns out Lu Yi and his thugs have broken into her house. Furious, he says, "Because of you, Boss Feng punished me. Now I'm going to punish you." His thugs start smashing up the place. They're about to break the bicycle Shi-shao gave her when he arrives. He takes on all of them alone. Meanwhile, Shu-won calls the police, and they arrive and arrest everyone. After leaving the police station, Shu-won looks at the bruises on Shi-shao's face and says, "Don't ever put yourself in danger like that for me again." After this, Mr. Feng returns the papers for Shu-won's house. Shi-shao sells his motorcycle to pay off the remaining 50,000 yuan too. Mr. Feng tells her, "Your debt is completely cleared as of today. No one's going to bother you anymore." Hearing this makes Shu-won incredibly happy. She tells Shi-shao, "I'll pay you back soon." Shi-shao laughs and says, "No rush. Take 50 years and pay it back in easy installments." Around this time, Shi-shao's grandpa's health takes a turn for the worse, and the two of them rush to the hospital. At the hospital, Shi-shao's family starts fighting over the company shares yet again. Grandpa realizes no one actually cares about him, only about his company. Outside, Shu-won runs into her mom, Gu-yan. Gu-yan tells her, "Forget Shi-shao and think about your own future. He should be the very last person on your mind." Shuwan shoots back immediately. You chose a rich life for yourself, but you still never earned any respect. Meanwhile, Shishao and Shuwan sit down together for lunch. That's when Shishao tells her that his dad and Guyan's wedding is the next day. Shuwan asks, "Doesn't that make you angry anymore?" Shishao says, "It used to, but not anymore, because now there's someone in my life I'd much rather think about." The hint was clear. He meant Shuwan. The next day, Shuwan goes to the hospital to see Dr. Chen. While there, she overhears some doctors talking. She learns that at the time of her father's death, it was Guyan who had cut short his treatment. If treatment had continued, he might have lived a few more years. Learning this truth pulls the ground out from under Shuwan. She realizes her mom may have forced not just her father, but possibly even grandma to stop treatment too. Meanwhile, as Shishao's grandpa is being discharged from the hospital, he tells Shishao, "Go to the wedding if you want. If not, just say I sent you in your place." But Shuwan storms straight to the wedding venue in anger. In front of everyone, she confronts Guyan. "Did you let both dad and grandma die on purpose? To protect her own reputation?" Guyan turns the accusation back on Shuwan and tells the guards, "Get her out of here." Just then, Shishao arrives and says angrily, "If anyone has the guts, try laying a hand on her." Then turning to his dad, he says, "You two really deserve each other. You ruined my mom's life, and this woman has ruined plenty of others' lives too." As he leaves, he tells Guyan, "Just as my mom suffered and suffered until the end, I hope your life as the Liu family's daughter-in-law turns out exactly the same." After this, Shishao takes Shuwan away from there. To help her let out her anger, he teaches her how to paint. The two of them splash color across the canvas together, releasing all their frustration. Later, Shuwan says sadly, "When summer ends, you'll go abroad, and then I'll be completely alone." Shishao takes her hand and says, "I've made my decision. I'm not going abroad anymore. I'm staying right here with you to keep you safe." The next day, when Shuwan wakes up, she finds Shishao has brought her a bouquet of flowers. Seeing them makes her really happy. She tells him, "Your lawn looks so empty. Well, let's plant some flowers here." Shishao says, "Do whatever you like with it, however you want." Meanwhile, Fan and Gu Meng have officially become a couple, so all four of them go to meet up. On the way back, Shishao says, "Wait for me at home. I need to go see Grandpa." Shuwan heads to a nursery and buys a bunch of plants, then starts decorating Sishao's lawn with her own hands. She also texts him, "Come back soon." Meanwhile, Zhishao has gone to see his grandpa. He tells him, "My 10% shares won't vote for anyone. Not for dad, not for aunt." Grandpa agrees to his terms, but the moment Zhishao steps outside, his dad stops him. He threatens Shuwan, saying, "I'll never forgive her for the scene she caused at my wedding. I'll make her life miserable. But if you come with me and behave like a good son until the shareholders' meeting, I won't touch her." The moment he hears Shuwan's name, Zhishao is forced to go with him. The moment they get home, his dad takes away his phone and locks him in his room. He says flatly, "You're not leaving this house until the meeting is over." Meanwhile, Shuwan keeps calling and messaging Zhishao but gets no response. Fan tells her that Shishao's dad has locked him up like this before. Hearing this, Shuwan says, "This time, I'm not leaving him alone." Just then, Zhang overhears her. He says, "If you want to see Shishao, I can get you inside." Zhang deliberately leaves the gate to the Liu family house open, and Shuwan sneaks in. She heads straight to the window below Shishao's room and throws a pebble at it. Shishao is stunned to see her. He gestures for her to go back, then drops a note down that reads, "Sorry, I couldn't keep my promise. Please leave." But Shuwan writes back, "I'm not leaving like this. I'm going to break you out of here myself." Meanwhile, Zhang deliberately keeps Shishao's dad distracted with conversation. Just then, Shuwan triggers the fire alarm, sending the whole house into chaos. Taking advantage of the moment, Shishao grabs his phone and slips away with Shuwan. When his dad finds out that Shuwan is the one who helped him escape, he takes his anger out on Jiang, sending him to a business dinner in Shishao's place the next day. Meanwhile, Shishao and Shuwan decide to head to a faraway city and start fresh. The two of them set off by train. The journey is tough, but they're happy simply because they're together. Once there, they wander around the city, eat together, and for the first time enjoy life without any fear. At one point, they come across a wedding taking place in a church. Watching it, Shuwan says, "Every girl dreams of a wedding like that." Then, working up the courage, she asks Zhishao, "Should we officially start dating?" Zhishao has been waiting for exactly this moment. He says yes right away, and the two of them kiss. Zhishao and Shuwan are now officially boyfriend and girlfriend. That night, Shuwan falls asleep in Zhishao's lap, but she has a nightmare where their wedding turns from a fairy tale into a horror story. She wakes up startled and realizes it was just a dream. The next day, the two of them go to book a hotel room. Zhishao deliberately asks for a room with 2 beds, but then all of his cards get declined. He realizes his dad has frozen all of his accounts. Left with no choice, the two of them decide to stay somewhere cheaper. Meanwhile, after returning from the business dinner, Jiang is completely devastated. He realizes his dad has always just been using him as a stand-in for Zhishao. In anger, he trashes everything in his room. Meanwhile, Shishao and Shu Wan continue their journey. To save money, Shishao works at a scrapyard to buy an old bike, and the two of them ride off on it. Eventually, they find a small motel where they can stay in exchange for doing a bit of work. There, they even make friends with an adorable dog. One night, Shu Wan says, "I want to retake the college entrance exam. It was Grandma's dream, and I'm going to fulfill it." Shishao says, "Wherever you go, I'll go too. I want to spend every season with you." Shu Wan laughs and replies, "Why just summer? Winter, autumn, we'll spend them all together." After this, the two of them head to a bookstore to buy study materials. Shishao tells his friend Fan, "My dreams are tied to Shu Wan now. I'm going to work hard, stay by her side, and I refuse to end up beneath her in any way." That evening, the two of them exchange gifts by a bonfire. Shishao gives Shu Wan a photo from the day they first met, while Zhu Wan brings him the exact same photo frame in return. Stunned, they look at each other and say, "Guess we really are made for each other." The next day, Shishao's aunt tracks him down all the way to the motel. Shu Wan happens to be out, but she overhears their conversation while sneaking back in. His aunt says, "You used to live such a luxurious life. Now look at how you're living." Shishao replies, "None of this bothers me. I only worry about Shu Wan. I don't want her to suffer because of me. If you can, please get my bank cards reactivated." Just then, Shu Wan walks in too. Seeing the two of them together, his aunt says, "Shishao turned out even stronger than I imagined. Seeing him happy puts my mind at ease." With that, she leaves. Shishao starts learning to cook for Shu Wan too. One day while he's cooking for her, Shu Wan gets a call from Shishao's dad. He tells her, "I've had your family thoroughly investigated. Guyan was also behind the ruin of your father's factory. If you send Shishao back, I'll hand over all the evidence against her." Hearing this brings back painful memories from Shu Wan's childhood, but she refuses flatly. "I'm not interested in any deal with you." She doesn't tell Shishao anything about this call. A little later, Shishao says, "We need to go back and pick up the admission files from school for the exam." Shu Wan panics for a moment. She doesn't want to go back to that city, but Shishao convinces her it's necessary for their future. Before leaving, Shu Wan has one last wish, to see snowfall. Shishao takes her to a glass bridge. He's still terrified of heights, even now. Shu Wan holds his hand and says, "Close your eyes. I'm right here with you. You're not afraid of heights. You're afraid of falling." Slowly, she guides him across the bridge. When Shishao opens his eyes, a beautiful view stretches out in front of him. At that exact moment, snow starts to fall. Shu Wan is overjoyed, and the two of them make a promise to each other. We'll always stay together through good times and bad. Then, standing at the train station, the two of them make the same wish. "I hope we can always stay together." After this, the two of them return to their city and pick up their admission files from school. Their teachers wish them the best for their exams, but Zishao's dad finds out right away that he's back in the city. He orders his men to intercept him. Meanwhile, Guyan returns from abroad, but Mr. Liu refuses to even meet her. Her belongings are thrown out and she's kicked out of the house. Meanwhile, Zishao goes to meet his dad. His dad places a share transfer agreement in front of him and says, "Sign your shares over to me. In return, I'll reactivate your cards and let you study fine arts." But Shishao refuses flatly. "You've only ever cared about money, shares, and power. I'll never become like you." As he's leaving, Guyan stops him and says, "Zhu Wan has been using you." Without stopping, Shishao replies, "Whatever she's done it out of necessity. I trust her completely." After this, Shishao goes back to Shu Wan and says, "Let's leave tonight." Shu Wan tells him she couldn't get night tickets, so they'll leave the next morning instead. She also tells him about the call from his dad. Meanwhile, Jiang's dad is now fully using him as a replacement for Shishao. He's even having new suits made for him for business meetings. Just then, Grandpa arrives and says angrily, "All of this rightfully belongs to Shishao alone." Jiang overhears everything. Even so, his dad tells him, "If you want to get ahead of Shishao, you're going to have to listen to everything I say." Already broken, Jiang grows even more troubled. That evening, he meets Shu Wan and finally speaks his heart out for the first time. "I've liked you from the start. Can't you give me a chance?" Shu Wan gently turns him down. "I've always thought of you only as a friend." Hearing this shatters Jiang completely. The next day, he's out drinking, and Liu Yi happens to be there too. In his drunken state, Jiang lets slip that Shu Wan is back in the city. That's all Liu Yi needs to hear before he decides to take his revenge. The next morning, just as Shu Wan and Shishao are getting ready to leave the city, Liu Yi and his thugs kidnap Shu Wan. He calls Shishao from her phone. "If you want to see her alive, come here alone." Shu Wan screams into the phone, "Shishao, don't come here." But Shishao ignores her and goes there alone anyway. Liu Yi threatens Shu Wan's life and starts humiliating Shishao. He says, "Get down on your knees in front of me." Without a moment's hesitation, Shishao kneels down. Just then, Shu Wan manages to free herself from her restraints. She grabs a nearby brick and strikes Lu Yi with it. Ji Xiao then starts fighting off the thugs. But Lu Yi tries to attack Shu Wan. Shi Xiao steps in front of her to protect her and takes a serious hit near his chest. Covered in blood, all he manages to say to Shu Wan is, "Don't be afraid. I won't let anything happen to you." Shi Xiao is rushed to the hospital right after. His condition is extremely critical. The moment they arrive at the hospital, his dad unleashes all his anger on Shu Wan. "Is this what you wanted for my son?" Already terrified, Shu Wan can't even respond. Just then, Grandpa calls her over and says, "I'm not trying to make a deal with you. This is just a request. If you truly love Shi Xiao, let him go. As long as you're with him, his life will always be in danger. It's not his leaving that will keep him safe. It's yours." Hearing this brings tears to Shu Wan's eyes. She clasps her hands together and says to Grandpa, "Just let me see him once to make sure he's okay. After that, I'll walk out of his life forever myself." Shi Xiao's surgery is successful and he's moved to a ward. Relieved, Shu Wan breathes a sigh of relief. She cooks chicken soup for him and sends it to the hospital every day, taking care of his medicine, food, and every little thing through the caretaker auntie. One day, the caretaker auntie steps out for a while, and for the first time, Shu Wan sits alone beside Shi Xiao. Looking at him, she breaks down and says, "Because of me, you ended up in so much trouble." Grandpa was completely right. Crying, she falls asleep right there beside him. The next morning, when she wakes up, Shi Xiao is already conscious and gently stroking her hair. Shu Wan immediately tries to call the doctor, but Shi Xiao grabs her hand and says, "Don't go anywhere, just stay with me." Shu Wan then feeds him soup with her own hands. Just then, Grandpa and his aunt walk into the room. Shu Wan starts to leave, but Shi Xiao holds her hand in front of everyone and says, "As long as I'm in this hospital, only Shu Wan will take care of me." Later, Grandpa reminds Yu Wan of her promise. "You said you'd leave him once he recovered." Clasping her hands together, Shu Wan says, "Just let me stay with him until he's fully recovered. After that, I promise I'll keep my word." After this, Shu Wan comes to the hospital every day with home-cooked food. Shi Xiao insists, "I'll only eat if you feed me." Slowly, Shi Xiao makes a full recovery. The doctor says he'll be discharged soon. Shi Xiao is thrilled to hear this, but inside, Shu Wan is falling apart. She knows that once he's discharged, they'll have to separate forever. Shi Xiao happily talks about their future. "I'll go home, convince Grandpa, and then we'll go back to where we decided to build our life together." Shu Wan smiles, but she knows this is the last time they'll see each other. On the day of his discharge, Shu Wan packs up all her belongings ahead of time. She also takes off the arrow necklace Shi Xiao gave her. Before leaving, she quietly slips the amulet Grandma had given her under Shi Xiao's pillow, so it will always protect him. At the hospital, she trims Shi Xiao's hair. He's living this moment happily, but Shu Wan's eyes keep welling up with tears. Before his discharge, she takes him to the hospital garden and says, "Come on, let's play hide and seek one last time." As she says this, she hugs him from behind so she can hide her tears. Then she says, "I'll always wish for you to be happy, to be safe, and to go far in life." Shi Xiao thinks she's just feeling emotional. He starts counting and Shu Wan goes off to hide. But a little while later, her voice comes through. "Don't come looking for me, and I'm leaving you. I never loved you. I was only with you to squeeze money out of Guyan. Even that trip to see the snowfall was just me being selfish. As of today, we're over." With that, Shu Wan walks away and never comes back. Shi Xiao searches for her like a madman, but Shu Wan never returns. A month goes by. There's no trace of Shu Wan anywhere. Shi Xiao is completely broken. He starts drinking every day. Fan tries to talk sense into him, but he won't listen to anyone. Around this time, a girl named Lena, who's had feelings for Shi Xiao for a while, sings a song in front of him and confesses her feelings. At that very moment, Shu Wan sends him 20,000 yuan back on WeChat and writes, "You lent me 50,000. This is all I have right now. I'll pay back the rest too." Seeing this makes Shi Xiao feel even more like a stranger to her. Out of anger, he accepts Lena's confession, but not long after, he realizes he can never forget Shu Wan. So he breaks up with Lena too. One night, he finds the same amulet under his pillow, the one Shu Wan had left behind. He immediately calls Shu Wan, again and again. After a long time, Shu Wan finally picks up. Crying, Shi Xiao says, "Just say it once. Tell me you lied. Tell me you love me. I'll forget everything." But holding back her tears, Shu Wan says, "I never loved you. Now let me move on with my life." This time, Shi Xiao's heart shatters completely. He says, "Never show your face to me again after today. If I ever see you again, I'll make you cry so hard, you'll beg me for forgiveness." After this, New Year's arrives. Even in the middle of the celebrations, Shi Xiao can only think of Shu Wan. He imagines her and dances with her in his mind. Fan and Gumeng watch this and realize just how much he still loves her, even now. Meanwhile, Shu Wan's hard work pays off. She gets accepted into a top university. At last, she takes the first step toward fulfilling her grandma's dream. The story then jumps ahead 10 years to 2026. Shu Wan is now a successful career woman, working at Boxing Construction. During a project bid, her sharp thinking flips the entire deal around at the very last minute, and her company wins the bid. Her manager praises her for it. The next day, Shu Wan heads to the airport to pick up someone special. At that same airport, Xi Xiao is also returning to China after spending several years in Europe. For a moment, it seems like the two of them are about to run into each other, but they walk right past one another. As it turns out, Shu Wan was there to pick up Jiang, who had also just returned from abroad. Meanwhile, Xi Xiao has become a famous artist. People now call him China's Picasso. Fan is now his manager, and people from all over the world are reaching out to him for art exhibitions. 10 years later, both of them are back in the same city, but they still haven't crossed paths. We then see Jiang and Shu Wan having dinner together 10 years on. Jiang is now quite successful in his career. After returning from abroad, he chose to settle down in his hometown. He tells Shu Wan, "Back in high school, I always dreamed that once I became successful, I'd bring you to a place like this for dinner. Today, that dream came true." Then the two of them decide to visit their old school the next day, since their old class teacher has passed away. Meanwhile, Xi Xiao has also returned from abroad. As soon as he gets home, his eyes land on his old fish tank, but it's empty. Fan tells him that all the fish died over the years. Seeing this brings Shu Wan back to his mind all over again. The next day, on his way to prepare for an exhibition, Xi Xiao also ends up at their old school. At that same time, Shu Wan and Jiang are there too. The two of them look at their old classroom and get lost in their school memories. Looking at her old seat, Shu Wan starts thinking about how Xi Xiao used to pull some prank or another every time he walked past her. The same question comes back to her mind. Will Xi Xiao ever forgive me? Meanwhile, Xi Xiao is also wandering through the school, lost in memories of Shu Wan everywhere he looks. At one point, the two of them are standing on opposite sides of the very same wall, without even realizing how close they are to each other. Then, Shu Wan and Jiang arrive at the hidden study spot where she and Xi Xiao used to study together. For a moment, Shu Wan thinks the person approaching from behind is Xi Xiao, but it's Jiang. He says in surprise, "There was a spot like this in the school? I never even knew about it." That's because this place was always Yuan and Xi Xiao's secret spot alone. Meanwhile, Xi Xiao's grandpa wants him to take over the family business, but Xi Xiao says plainly, "I got my finance degree to honor your wishes, but my dream has always been to become an artist. Business was never meant for me." Grandpa, ever fond of him, gives in. Meanwhile, Shu Wan has been working hard at her company, but her manager keeps taking credit for her work. Her colleagues urge her to fight for a promotion, but Shu Wan says, "I'm happy with what I have." Then Xi Xiao's stepmom calls to ask him to meet up. Xi Xiao says, "Sure, we'll meet, but there'll be no talk of company shares or business." Hearing this, even she can't help but laugh. Meanwhile, it turns out Fan and Gu Meng have gotten married, but there's a lot of distance in their relationship now. Small misunderstandings have pushed things all the way to the edge of divorce. Gu Meng is staying with her friend Shu Wan, while Fan brings his troubles to Xi Xiao's house. That night, Xi Xiao takes out for a walk the same dog he and Shu Wan had adopted together 10 years ago. At that same moment, Shu Wan also happens to step outside. Seeing the dog, Shu Wan starts playing with it and says, "I used to have a dog just like this. He'd probably be around this age too by now." Xi Xiao, standing behind her, overhears all of this. He says, "A girl gave me this dog 10 years ago, someone I loved very much, but she hurt me so badly that I told her never to show her face to me again. Do you think she'll ever come back?" The moment Shu Wan hears Xi Xiao's voice, tears fill her eyes. But she composes herself and turns to face him, saying, "It's been a long time since we last met, and whatever you're bringing up, I let go of it a long time ago. You should probably do the same." With that, she walks away. But the moment she's gone, Xi Xiao completely falls apart. He goes home and smashes things in anger, then spends the whole night painting instead of sleeping. Meanwhile, Shu Wan can't sleep all night either. Even 10 years later, neither of them has been able to forget the other. The next morning, Xi Xiao asks Fan, "Why did you never tell me Shu Wan was back?" Fan says, "She came back right after graduation, but I figured if I told you, you'd just end up hurting all over again." After this, Xi Xiao's stepmom comes to see him. Over a meal, he asks her the same question, why she hid the truth about Shu Wan's return from him. His stepmom says, "If I'd told you, do you think you'd have been able to focus on your career? But remember, she isn't the same Shu Wan as she was 10 years ago." She then shows him the files for a resort project. At first, Xi Xiao shows no interest, but as he flips through them, he discovers that the person handling this project for their rival company is none other than Shu Wan. Seeing this leaves Xi Xiao completely stunned. And that's where this part ends. Subscribe to this channel to watch the next part.